there's so many other things that we need to do first that we can still do. We can achieve, makukuha naman natin yung gusto natin, but within the present constitutional, the way the Constitution is written. So I think the attempt is the reason that it's being talked about is because of the economic provisions. And gusto nga natin magkaroon ng investment. Kuminsan sa gabal yun. But for me, lahat itong mga pinag-usapan, kaya natin gawin na hindi palitan ng saligang batas.
Urong-Sulong Na Cha-Cha, ano na nga ba ang mga ganap dito? Sa mga nakaraang linggo, ang House Representative ay nagsimula na mag-deliberate ng Cha-Cha, na prioridad ang term limit ng konstitusyon. Pakinggan ang deliberation ng mga ito.
The term limits in the Constitution are part of the social justice provisions of the Constitution. If you read Section 1 of Article 13, it is to try to address the social, economic, and political inequalities, and by equitably diffusing wealth and political power for the common good. That is part of the social justice theme of the Constitution, the term limits.
Yung term limits po na linagay natin sa saligang batas ay intended to give chances to others to also hold public office. And it's really a limitation on the democratic right of the people to choose their leaders. And as a limitation, it is an exception to the rule. That's why as a magistrate of the Supreme Court, I've always considered my approach as to whether or not a proposition at issue is the rule or is the exception. If it is the exception, then it should be strictly construed. So since term limits are the exception in a democratic polity, any interpretation should be strictly construed. So in case of doubt, you should not uphold term limits. You should uphold the right of the people to choose whoever they want. But I still believe there should be term limits, at least for the highest offices. Maybe it's time to remove it in the lower offices. Thank you. The reason why we ended up proposing the presidential as against the parliamentary form of government, it was debated with Father Bernas explaining to us the difference between the two forms. The reason why we propose presidential is because of our consultation with our people. Contrary to popular belief, the Constitutional Commission in fact held consultations. We went all over the country before we sat down to work on the draft and asked different segments of our people what they preferred. And our feedback from the ground was that our people still wanted to choose their leader, the national leader, the president. They wanted to choose. They didn't want the legislature to choose the leader, which is the parliamentary. The Filipino people we consulted at that time wanted to choose the national leader. That's why presidential. Thank you.
Ang basic position ko talaga noon pa man, it's not the form of government that matters. Kay federal yan, kay parliamentary yan. Merong federal government na mayaman, Germany. Merong federal government na mahirap, Ethiopia. May parliamentary government na mayaman, developed, UK, England. May parliamentary form government na mahirap, Nepal, at iba pa. Merong presidential form of government na mayaman, US, may presidential form of government na mahirap, Pilipinas. So for me, it doesn't matter. That's why during the debates here, I was telling some of my colleagues, ako wala akong problema talaga sa form of government. Resolbahin nyo ang land reform, political dynasty, corruption. Resolbahin nyo. I would be very happy to do that. Ang emphasis sa form of government, Mr. Chair, is actually diluting the issue. I met the previous members who were telling us noon, early days, pag mag-parliamentary tayo, ito ang solusyon, ito yung uunlad ng Pilipinas. Tapos later on, nakita ko sila, pag mag-federal tayo, ito yung solusyon. I mean, sa akin, never ako nagbigay ng posisyon kung which is better, although sa akin, may mga limits ang power, whether or not, anumang form of government. So, I will not choose one form of government over the other. Para sa akin, it's the substance, not the form.
Ang Cha-Cha ng administrasyon ay ang pangunahing agenda ni Senador Robin Padilla na siya ngayon chairman ng Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes o Cha-Cha. Matatandaan na nagalit nga ito sa mga execs nang hindi dumalo ang mga ito ay Cha-Cha hearing.
Pasensyahan niyo po ako, maglalabas lang ako ng konting sama ng loob sa mga nagaganap sapagkat hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit hirap na hirap ang Senado na mag-imbita ng ibang sekretary. Marami po tayong inimbitahan. Nandiyan po ang sa DOE, inimbitahan din po natin ang kung meron silang maipapadala sa NEDA. Hindi ko po alam sapagkat itong konstitusyon na ito kasi, ito kasing konstitusyon natin ngayon sa 1987. Ang sinasabi nito, merong balancing kapangyarihan ang legislative at ang executive. Ibig sabihin, pantay tayo ng kapangyarihan. Kapag ka iniimbita sana itong mga tiga-executive, sana po ay pagbibigyan nyo kami. Sapagkat hindi naman po kami dito mga marites o parites. Yung pong aming gusto naming talakayin kasama po kayo ay patungkol po sa konstitusyon. At itong bagay na ito ay hindi po ito isang bagay na isinasantabi. Sapagkat saligang batas po ito. Kaya po dito na naman pumapasok na kahit anong gusto kong gawin na pumantay diyan sa 1987 Constitution, sumasama ang loob ko. Kaya ang nangyayari, ipinipilit kong baguhin natin ito. Kasi kung ganito ang sistema, na para tayo nagmamakaawa dito sa executive, na para makasama lang natin, sana mag-parliamentary na lang tayo. Dahil sa parliamentary, obligado silang humarap at iisa na ang executive at ang legislative. Tingnan nyo, napakaganda ng itsura namin dito. Ako nasa majority, nandito ang aking hinahangaan, nasa minority. Interesado kami dito sa usapin na ito. Yung inaantay namin, mambihira, oo. Sana magbigay po kayo ng interest dahil lang ang bill din na pag-uusapan po natin dito ay galing din kay Win Gatchalian, kay Senator Win Gatchalian na nasa majority din. Ang akala ko, kaalyado natin tong mga nasa executive. Kung kaalyado namin talaga kayo, siputin nyo kami.
Samantalang tinutulak naman din ito ni Romualdez, pinsan ng Pangulo, na siyang sinasabing, ang Cha-Cha ang last piece ng puzzle di umano sa economic growth ng
We
bansa.
are identifying the Constitution now as the last piece of the puzzle. We believe that once we open it and once we revisit the economic provisions, make it less restrictive but more open or more comprehensive or at least competitive to other constitutions, then I think we will get, the final, also the final success that we all been looking for. That the Philippines, moves up from the third world country tier to second or middle, to developed country status. So we're trying to position ourselves to that, and we just have to be very competitive. And I always get that sense every time I go out on these trips. I get a sense that there's just something holding us back, and that's why we're having these hearings, these consultations with the people, and if they're ready and willing, because we think that at the end of the day, dito talagang makikinabang ang taong bayan. Pag pinuksan talaga yung ekonomiya, dadaksan talaga tayo ng investments. Kasi nafe-feel talaga natin dito. Kasi nakikita nila si Presidente talagang binubusisi niya lang mga industriya. Kabisado na niya lahat. Nakikita talaga ng mga hapon dito. At saka lahat ng mga binisita natin na interesado talaga na ibuksan talaga yung ekonomiya. To make it talagang business friendly, to make the economic climate so conducive. And as we know, may foreign direct investments, bagong kapital yan. So, bagong negosyo, may employment, may livelihood. And, that spells a difference. And so that, at least in the Philippines, even, we hail, on Sunday, we will hail and praise and thank, our heroes, our overseas migrant workers, our OFWs. But it is also a dream that, work abroad should be an option, and not, a no-choice situation. So we really like to create more job opportunities and, better livelihoods in the Philippines. And we feel that by bringing in and attracting foreign capital and foreign investments and making the atmosphere and the environment so conducive for that, then we feel that we'll be able to achieve, not just a better economy, but, a better country.
Bagamat ang sabi naman ni PBBM ay hindi niya ito prioridad dahil maaring raw itong magkaroon ng epekto sa mga investment na papasok sa bansa.
Maraming ibang kailangan gawin eh. Maraming kailangan, there's so many other things that we need to do first that we can still do. We can achieve, makukuha naman natin yung gusto natin, but within the present constitutional, the way the constitution is written. So I think the attempt is the reason that it's being talked about is because of the economic provisions. And gusto nga natin magkaroon ng investment. Kuminsan sa gabal yun. But for me, lahat itong mga pinag-usapan, kaya natin gawin na hindi palitan ng saligang batas.
Dahil dito sinabi ni Senador Padilla na ito ay kanila pa ring ipupush with or without presidential support. Sinabi ni Senator Padilla, "It is sad because if we do not make the needed changes to the Charter's economic provisions, ordinary Filipinos will not feel the benefits of progress for our motherland. Most of the pledges by foreign investors from our leaders, foreign trip will not materialize without charter change." Hindi rin ito natigilan ang mga House Representative sa pag-hold ng panibagong hearing para public consultation sa charter change at sinabing ipapagpapatuloy pa rin nila ang pag-push sa Cha-Cha. Sinabi ng chairperson ng House Representative na si Rufus Rodriguez, "While we respect the opinion of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on constitutional amendment measures, we will, of course, consider it, but as an independent branch of government, the House of Representatives will proceed with its public dialogues on this issue. There is emerging consensus about the need to relax foreign investment caps." Samantalang sinasabi naman ang charter change di umano ay walang benefit kay PBBM.
Kung ma-approve to this 19th Congress, so mag-start po to sa 2025, di ba? So 2025 nasa midterm po ang ating Pangulo at ating Vice President. So palagay ko hindi na po sila pwedeng tumakbo dito. Kaya ang sabi ko po, former President na hindi na po sila pwedeng tumakbo dito sa bagong batas na to. So malinaw po yun. So from President, Vice President, Congressman, local executive, from Governor down the line, yung mga last term po, hindi na sila pwedeng tumakbo.
Nagustuhan niyo ba ang ganitong pagtalakay? Mag-follow sa Informador FB page at mag-subscribe sa Informador YouTube channel. Ang Informador ay nilikha ng mga staff ni Atty. Ricky Tumuturgo, aka Insurrecto, upang lalong lumawak ang inaabot ng pagpapalaganap ng katotohanan at labanan ang fake news at kasinungalingan.